guys, Scott from SE Landscaping, up here in the wet northeast again. Another week of rain and snow on the way tomorrow, and it is just not getting any better at the moment. Really been hit hard, and it's very difficult to get anything done. But what we are doing today, I'm going to a cemetery that we got some gravel delivered a couple of days ago, and the guy started yesterday gravelling some graves just to improve the site and to make our job easier in the summer. And what I mean by that is we've got a lot of raised graves with surrounds around them, and the council agreed to a suggestion I made that we had from another. I did it on another contract a few years ago, and it's easier if I show you what I mean when I get to the site. But what we did is we did it in two phases. They wanted to see what a phase looked like last year, which we did, and it looked a lot better. They got good feedback from the visitors to the cemetery, so they agreed to roll it out across the rest of the cemetery. So I shall show you what I mean when I get to the site. So just on another subject, last night and the last couple of weeks people have been asking why they see lots of videos and why I talk about my staff and you never see them. That's an option. I chose to do this channel basically, as you know, I get machinery off companies to test out and things, and it was started off just to do that. And the guys, it's their decision. You see them in the background on some videos, but you can't force people to be in videos. At the end of the day, they're here to work, and then that's entirely up to them what they choose to do. But like I say, it's their decision. So, but like I say, they do exist. Look, there's one of our vehicles there, and hopefully we should pick up two of our men shortly. And there we go. If you look in the distance, we've got one in a high vis and another man walking towards us for our morning meeting. So there you go, guys, just to clear anything up from people who want to know lots of information for some strange reason. There you have it. So that's what's left of 20 tonne of marine gravel. So these are the areas we did last year, so just a matter of topping them up and it stops the weeds coming through. And this side is what we're on with now. So a lot of them, the concrete's fallen in or they're full of weeds. By doing this, it'll just make our job in the summer easier, because all of these will be level, they'll be safer, and they won't get weeds in, so we'll do less weed killing and more grass cutting. Roll a membrane. Metre rolls we use. The bigger areas we get 5 metre rolls if we're doing large areas, but for this will do the job. A lot of them are the same size. And then basically a bit of gravel on each corner. So we just close as you can. Some areas you can tuck it under if there's a gap. We'll go from needing to weed kill these whole things 6 times a year to just getting the odd one coming through the edge where there's nothing to tuck it under. And then if I wasn't so lazy, I'd go and get the rake out the van. So 2 wheelbarrows in, a bit of membrane, never to need maintenance again. Like I say, apart from down here where you can't tuck it under, you will always get 1 or 2 weeds coming through, but 99.9% of them ain't going to come through anymore. There's a few the guys have done. It's the same with little strips between graves like this. They're very difficult to strim. If you imagine a strimmer head in there, it's very difficult to get in. So by doing that and these little strips here, it just reduces the it reduces the need for strimming and weed killing. So I'll get a bit of footage when that job's finished, just to show the whole thing, but you get a bit of an idea of how much time that will save us this year, and just by doing that little thing. So calculation wise, so that you don't end up on a job where you think, right, we get 60 ton delivered and you finish it with 30. The way to work this out is I measured every grave there that was to do. So I went round with a tape measure, and a lot of them are generic, so once you know that one's a metre wide by 2 metres long, you can just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and the bigger ones, so you can get it pretty much somewhere near after you measure 1 or 2. You don't need to go around with a tape and measure every one. 1.9 be 1.7 and 1.6 be 1.35. Once you have your square meterage, so if it's 1,000 square metres, then what you do is you work out your thickness. So on there we put 3 inches. So you times it by 0.075. Then what you do then is you times it by 1.8, and that gets you tons. And that works for soil, gravel, stuff like that. For bark mulch is measured in cubic meters, so you don't times the tons. So if we were bark mulching that area and that was 1,000 square meters, you would times it by 0.05, and then that would get you a cubic meterage of bark, because bark gets delivered in cubic meters. Or if it came out at 1,000 litres and you buy a bag from your local DIY store and that's 100 litres, you know that you need 1,000 litres, so you need 10 bags of bark. I think that makes sense. It's the same as if I needed a ton of gravel there to do say 10 graves, and you were buying bags from your DIY store, the 25 kilogram bags, you know you need 40 bags to do that area, and that will be a ton. 25 times 40 is 1,000 kilograms, which is a ton. What you do find is, if you're buying stuff in bagged aggregate nowadays, it knocks everything to pot, because years ago you used to order a ton of sand, ton of gravel, and you would get a ton of sand and a ton of gravel. All of a sudden, now you phone up and ask for a ton, you don't get a ton, you get 800 to 850 kilograms. I don't know whether it's due to weights and measures or what they're allowed to carry in these bags, but all of a sudden, so if you order 10 ton, you actually need more than 10 bags, because if you order 10 bags, you only actually get an 8.5 ton. So that's something to bear in mind, guys. When you do phone your builders and ask for a ton, they'll deliver you a ton, but you won't get a ton. It's a bit of false advertising, really, and they won't always, they don't always tell you that, which is a bit wrong for the average man who's doing it on a weekend as a DIY project. Then he's going to be short. So just something to bear in mind. But just coming back to the gravelling job there, a lot of the work we do for councils this time of year to keep us busy are suggestions I make, and you've got to remember that council members, as a lot of industrial sites are, these are just people who don't know a lot about gardening and stuff. So if you drop ideas in like this, which this was my idea because I'd used it elsewhere, and last year the area we did at the top kept 2 guys busy for 2 days. Well, I was one of the guys who did it, but this job here, that's going to keep 2 guys busy all week. So it's filled a week in, and it's quite a good job to do, because as well as filling the week in, we're still getting paid the same for maintaining that all next year, but we're going to actually be a bit more productive and a bit quicker, because we're going to have less weeding to do, and it is going to look tidier overall. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Something different today, and now I'm just praying for decent weather. So we will see you on the next one.